welcome to my very first video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ms Alejandra. I am a food corps service member serving in Los Angeles with the nonprofit Garden School Foundation. And so what I do is I teach garden and cooking classes to students in kindergarten to 3rd grade. And we usually have classes twice a month, but because of the circumstances going on right now, we don't have that option, right? But that won't stop us, right? So I will be making garden and cooking class videos once a week in English and Spanish because my students at Jackson, we had a very strong dual language program, and so I want to keep those options open for everyone. Before we go on with the rest of the video, I want to do a small activity. I want you to close your eyes, so close your eyes right now, and I want you to imagine a garden. And this could be any garden you've ever been to. It could be the garden at the school, it could be a garden maybe at your own house, or maybe one of your cousin's house, your friend's house. Just imagine all of those gardens, right? And I want you to start to come up with words to describe it. Is it a big garden? Is it a small garden? Are there a lot of trees? Or maybe a lot of smaller plants? While I show you my garden, I want you to think of the ways that our gardens could be similar or different, right? And this can also be similar or different to the garden we have at school. So it could be any garden you think of. I want you to practice comparing and contrasting, okay? So the beginning of our tour starts in my front yard where we have a lot of flowers. This flower right here is a rose bush and a bunch of smaller flowers. And then this plant right here, I bet you recognize it. We have one in the garden. Yes, it's a rosemary bush. Then this plant right here is actually called Birds of Paradise. So this huge palm tree, I'm gonna give you a second to guess how old this palm tree is. Well, here's the answer. It's actually 16 years old. My parents actually planted it when we moved into our house. We are going to enter my favorite part of this tour, and the reason why it's my favorite is because this is what I like to call the secret garden. And the reason why I call it secret garden is because it kind of gets forgotten. As you can see, there's a lot of weeds, we don't have a lot of plants growing, and so I feel like it has a lot of potential. So as you're going around your house exploring, try to find your own secret garden. Now we're making our way back to the house. And as you can see, we have some more plants. There's some yellow plants, some green plants. And I don't know all the names because my mom plants a lot of these plants, but they're still very pretty to look at. So we also have a lot of potted plants. As you can see, we have a lot of succulents here. So now we're making our way behind the house, and so I have a guanabana tree, we also have a mandarin tree, as well as a pear tree that's still not in the right season, but it's still growing. So we have a lot of plants on our windows because it looks really nice to look out our windows and see plants growing. And we have more succulents, more plants. Now this is also one of my favorite plants in the house. We have 2 huge cactus plants, and those are really yummy in some of our dishes. And then we have an orange tree, and then a beautiful fig tree. It's not in season, but when it is, it's huge. And then this is my absolute favorite tree in our house. It's our avocado tree. And as you can see, it's really big, so you can only imagine how many avocados we get from it every single year. So this next clip is a time lapse of me weeding my secret garden. So earlier I mentioned how you should think about your potential secret gardens at your house. And this could be maybe an old pot or maybe a little corner in your house that has a lot of weeds. And as you saw, mine had a lot of weeds, so it had a lot of weeding to do. But maybe this is a good activity for you to do with your siblings or your parents, and that way you'll have a perfect space for our future garden activities. Now this clip is a little close-up to remind you how we weed in the garden, right? And so weeds are bad because their roots take away the nutrients and the water from our plants, and so it's important to get as much as the roots as you can. And when I pull them out, sometimes a bunch of dirt comes out and I just give it a little shake, and then everything comes off and then you're left with the roots. Because remember, the soil has a lot of good nutrients for the plants, we just don't want those weeds. And so here is our before and our after. It's very, very satisfying to see both of them next to each other. So don't forget to take a before and after picture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're excited for our next one, which will be a cooking video.